Great seeing you here in this second video in our lesson 9, where we talk about resources and activities. We have the resources and we look at the activities, the skills, and the resources themselves. The first element that I will show you is what we call a skill inventory matrix. The second tool is a resources allocation matrix, or a RAM. And the last tool is the RACI matrix. We will also use a resources breakdown structure to show the organization of the resources within the project. So let's have a look at activities, skills, and resources. Understanding what is requested, what deliverables we have to create to complete the activity, we also know what skills we need. Because every activity may need some specific skills to complete the work. When you're programming, you need a programmer. When you need bricklaying, you need a bricklayer. Every activity will have its own resources. Human resources may have different levels of competence. And when we select the wrong level of competence, we may have issues. Because people who are overqualified will not be efficient and effective in the work they're doing. And the same when people are underqualified, they may not have the skills to do the work. So overskilled people, in addition to that, they will be too expensive. While the underskilled people, they may be cheaper, but the risk that they will not complete the work as defined is higher. So it's very important to identify what people will be working on the different activities. And when we look back in some of the lessons before, we were speaking about advantages of project management. So basically, when we see that one of the advantages was that the people will work within their skill level. So you can mix a team with skilled people, people with experience, and underskilled people so that the people can learn on the job. So that's one of the elements that you will use to create, in fact, successful projects. Also, equipment and materials must be selected to cover the needs. Overkill is expensive and low standard equipment and materials may create issues. So there are a lot of items that you have to consider. It may be that you just use very expensive equipment because that's the only one you have available, or it's not being used by anything. But in general, you try to find the equilibrium by comparing the work that needs to be done with the equipment you need to get the level of quality that has been defined when you defined the activities. The tools that we're using, the first tool is about the skill inventory matrix. And what we are going to do here is basically linking the skills with people and identify gaps. So when we are looking at different people here, what are the skills that we need? Do we have people to do the work? Do we have people with the necessary skills? The skill inventory matrix will provide us with the places or the skills we are missing. We can use it or identify training needs. We can identify it by hiring needs, or we can also look at the fact that we may engage subject matter experts, people from the outside, who will be hired for the time that we need them. But we have to see, is it better to have a subject matter expert, or is it more interesting to train the people? We have to evaluate that case by case. Once we have all the people, when we know what people that are available, we are going to allocate the people to activities. And there is the first element is what we call a resources allocation matrix, or a RAM. In the RAM, we need to define a legend. We have a legend, and in our legend we say the P means the primary, the person accountable for the work, S is support or could be responsible, R is report, SME is a subject matter expert. So we're allocating the people to the different activities, and we must ensure that every activity has one and only one primary person, one person who is in charge of that activity. So when we look at a table like this, we should see in every column the letter P and only once the letter P. So when we have for an activity twice or two people who are primary, who are accountable, that leads to conflict and we must avoid that. When we have people like that, we can say, okay, that's the primary, and there could be a secondary. So in case the person is not available, the person who will take over accountability of the activity. Another way to do this is what we call the racing matrix. And the racing matrix is a little bit different from the RAM. Here we predefine the letters. So R means responsible, A is accountable, C is control, and I is informed. Accountable means this is the person who is in charge. From the previous slide, we can say this was the people who was the primary. So we have for every column only one person accountable, one and only one. The second element or the third thing that is quite interesting when we're talking about the resources, you can also define or create a resources breakdown structure. This was a little exercise I did with some friends. We call the project Elura. And we look at people, materials, and equipment. So that's the second level. So we're looking at the different people, the materials, and equipment that we need for our project. For people, we need the project management, the IT department, the marketing. For equipment, we need IT, communication, and some other equipment that we may add here. And we see for project manager, we have management, we have the project manager, the risk manager, the quality manager. For the IT department, we have the architect, the developer, and the tester. For equipment in IT, we have computers and data storage. And for communications, I looked at fixed data connection and mobile data connection. So these are elements related to the resources. We have people, material, and equipment resources. That's it for this video. So that's it basically for the second educational video, lesson video in lesson 9. We will continue with the next videos. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you and bye-bye.